Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Cory Sauter Show here at Studio One. I'm Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University. And again, we talk Mustang football as we take a look at last week's loss to Minnesota State University Mankato. And we'll preview this upcoming week's game, the final game of the 2010 season, this Saturday afternoon at home versus Concordia St. Paul. We'll talk about that particular game and what the Mustangs have to do to pull out the upset and beat the Golden Bears at the Regional Event Center. We'll talk about that game later on in the show, and joining us on this week again on the show is the head coach Cory Sauter, and Mustangs coming off a disappointing 53-7 loss to Minnesota State Mankato on Saturday in Mankato. And Coach, we'll take a look at some of the highlights and we'll talk in depth about the football game, but it really was a story of two different halves. And you look at the score and obviously disappointed in the outcome, but you know, being there, it just didn't seem like that was going to be the case, you know, over halfway through the game. The Mustangs came out and played very well in the first quarter. You took the lead, had a chance to extend it, didn't happen, and just got caught up in that wind. Tough to get out of your own end with that stiff wind, and you know, just snowballed from there. And you give credit to Minnesota State; they played very well, and unfortunately, about every break that could go Mankato's way did, and they get the victory.
Yeah, it was one of those games where what could go wrong did go wrong, especially in that second half with turnovers, with penalties, just miss opportunities from time to time, and that's the biggest disappointment. Is you know, we've had some opportunities this year to really, you know, stay into ball games, have an opportunity to get a good lead early in the ball game, and we started out the game, you know, with the 7-0 lead, and then got the ball back by our defense, and really had a chance to go up 14-0. We did go for the field goal off the right upright, and so you know, those are just little things that add up in a ball game that really take momentum away, take hope away. And I'm not saying our guys quit, but it's just one thing led to the next, and it's just like trying to seal off a leak. You know, you try to seal up one area, and all of a sudden it leaks in a different area, and it was just one of those cases this game.
Yeah, again, the Mustangs, we'll talk about what happened in the contest on Saturday. Minnesota State starts with the football and has a nice kickoff return and moves down inside the 20-yard line. You get a fumble. John Kursbergen recovers for the Mustangs, and you're going against a defense that's been very solid in the last month or so, limited Wayne State to 3 points. They should have beaten Augustana the week before, so a defense has played very well. And you guys went down, drove 86 yards, get a score, picked up a key third down conversion. And you're kicking with the win. You forced Mankato into a 3-and-out, and as you mentioned, had a chance to add to the lead. We missed the field goal, but even despite that, you give Mankato credit because they picked up a first down and came back and tied the game, and then catch a break and get a 2-point conversion. But as you talked about, you know, you lose hope there for a while. But that's one thing I'm sure the guys just have to realize in this last game is, you know, it's a team game, and if the offense doesn't score, well, the defense just has to, you know, stiffen up and say, well, let's get the ball back, or create our own turnover again, and you know, just everybody has to work together.
Well, absolutely, and it is a team game, and while the offense is out on the field, the defense has to be our best fans, and vice versa. And so when something does happen, we have to rally around each other instead of having that negative feel. And you know, the good teams are able to overcome adversity, and we're not quite there yet. We've got a ways to go, but I do believe we have a good core group of guys that you know, can become that group, and so it's just one of those great learning tools for us. We watched the film, we learned a lot from it. We also learned that Mankato is a pretty good team as well. They have some good players. I thought they've been very improved over the past year as far as their defense, as far as some of the schemes that they've done, and so you definitely got to give them credit. We knew that going these last 3 games, it was going to be a tough stretch, and we would have to play very, very well in order to beat, you know, any of them. And so I thought going into the game, you know, we talked about it all week as far as our preparation. We had a very good Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday preparation, and you know, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the game on Saturday, but I thought, you know, we were definitely locked in, ready to play. that showed early in the ball game, and we cannot allow one mistake to kind of let that snowball effect create some mishaps throughout the ball game. And I just never thought we were able to get out of it once we had a few bad things happen to our football team.
Well, like it was everywhere in the upper Midwest, a very windy day in Mankato on Saturday, and that does play a difference in the football game, because for two of the quarters you have to go into it, and it's so imperative to maybe get some points going into the win. What does that factor in before the coin toss, if you guys win it or not? Do you try to jump on the team early, or do you maybe play for the second and third quarter or whatnot? Because obviously it worked to Mankato's advantage. They got the ball in the third quarter, had the wind to their back, and they kind of put the game away with a strong third quarter. What's your philosophy on you defer and maybe let them kick off, or vice versa?
Right. Well, we talk about it as a staff before every game. We kind of see how the wind, how the temperature, how precipitation, all the weather factors, how that all plays into the picture. If we feel like the weather's going to change throughout the ball game, that could be a factor. Whether you want to kick off or defer, or so we made the decision to defer. We wanted to really kick off, with the wind, play good defense, get off to a good start offensively, which we did, and we were able to score, and we were able to capitalize on that. But on the flip end of that, you start out that second half going against the wind, and when you're down, that's not a good thing. And I think it affects special teams probably even more than the passing game, especially the short to intermediate passing game. It's really not as much of a factor. But they did a nice job as far as utilizing the wind to their advantage, and they had just a tremendous second and third quarter that really opened things up on us, and it was just tough to recover from that.
Well, the Mustangs do lose the ball game to the Mavericks on Saturday. Some individual numbers for SMSU. Warren Matthews led the team in rushing with 64 yards on 13 carries. Shane Ladegi had a nice game receiving, 61 yards on 5 receptions. And quarterback Ryan Radican, 10 of 21 passing, 132 yards. He was sacked 3 times, and he had to leave the game in the third quarter with an injury. And Tyler Prashon came in and finished the contest. And Ryan did the best he could. It was tough to rally. You had to throw the ball a lot there when you fell behind, and give Mankato credit. They've got a very good defense and put some pressure on him. And Ryan left the game with an injury, and hopefully he'll be okay and can play this week. But he's taken a beating here this last 10 games, but he keeps fighting back, and unfortunately just could not stay in the game on Saturday.
Right. Do you know that he's pretty hurt or pretty dinged up if he took himself out of the game? He would never do that on his own, but going into halftime, and this happened already in the second quarter already, and he battled through the second quarter. He said at halftime, I'm going to see how it feels warming up, maybe give it a series, see how that goes. He went through a series. He just felt like he couldn't give us anything for us to be successful offensively, so he decided to take himself out, and which was very unselfish on his part. Tyler then was able to come in and get some good quality reps, and give him credit. Tyler was able to move the ball somewhat, and we did have some turnovers that prevented us from scoring some additional touchdowns. So all in all, it's just a great learning experience, for anybody who gets in the ball game. That's normally not a starter, and you never want to play for next year, because this year is very, very important to everybody, and our seniors as well as everybody involved. So, but bottom line is we've got to get everybody, the reps that they need to get better, and whether that's 3 reps, 5 reps, 10, 20. When they do get that chance, they've got to get good quality effort there, and find a way to get better.
Again, on the defensive side of the football, the Mustangs, led by Levi Reef, who had a very good game, finishing with 11 tackles, including 1 for loss in the game for SMSU. And again, played very solid. He got some stops there early in that first half, and the game really, I think, changed late in the first half. You're down 11-7. and driving again into the wind down to about the 30-yard line. And the Mavericks stopped on 4th down, and then a tough touchdown given up at the end of the first half, and you're down 18-7. But again, you get the ball to start the second half and drive again. It was just couldn't sustain those drives. And on the flip side, Minnesota State 11 of 16 on 3rd down conversions, and they had a new quarterback in there who. Once he got settled in, he made some plays and picked up some 3rd and long situations, and those are just, you continue to give those up. It's just a backbreaker for your squad, and like I said, in the offense we couldn't convert, but the Mavericks could on their side of the ball.
Yeah, and they did a nice job as far as mixing up their play selection. They were able to get some of their naked bootlegs, some of their throwbacks, and a couple gadget plays that really allowed them to kind of open things up. They definitely took advantage of the win when they did have it. They were very efficient at what they did. Didn't do anything risky as far as putting themselves in a poor situation, and their guys executed. And they have a lot of talent. There's no question. They have a lot of talent, and we were a bit outmanned. And with that, we've got to take a few risks at time to time, and it kind of backfired on us on Saturday.
Well, again, the Mustangs playing shorthanded here for a lot of the second half of the season. You were without your starting defensive end, Mark Schomeyer. Lester Lewis did not play on the offensive side, and it kind of built up there. And I know was it the 3rd quarter possibly, but at one play, 2 linebackers both go down, and you just kind of think of what else could go wrong. Brandon Torrey and Jason Furnos, they did come back and play, but I'm sure when you walked out from the sideline thinking, what else could go wrong here? And as you're thinking, okay, we've got this guy to go in for this guy if he's hurt, but if both of them go down, it's just crazy. Have you seen anything like it, injuries and that type of thing in your coaching or playing career?
Well, it's been an abnormal year for us injury-wise. We've had a lot of multiple injuries at the same position. Sometimes you're going to have injuries at one position here, one position there, but we've had a lot, at the linebacker position, which isn't a good thing, and especially when you're limited depth-wise already. You don't want to put yourself too thin at any one position, and so it's just going to be one of those things we have to battle through. And I think a lot of teams go through it at some extent, but it just seems a little bit out of the ordinary this year. And hopefully we can get some of those guys healthy here for this last game, and then play through it. And for some of those guys, they're going to be seniors, and so I'm sure they'll find a way to get themselves ready, even if they have to fight through it.
Yeah, you're right. It will be a senior day coming up for the Mustangs, and we'll talk about that and much more here as we continue on with the show. You are watching the Cory Sauter Show here at Studio One, the coach, and I'm Kelly Loft, as we take a look at the highlights from this past Saturday's game against Minnesota State University Mankato, and lots of them in the first quarter for SMSU. And we'll start off here, and this is the turnover for the Mustangs. Mankato's opening drive, John Kersbergen getting the fumble recovery here, coming in from the right side.
What a great way for our defense to start out, to get the ball like this after driving all the way down inside our red zone area.
Yeah, they really had momentum, and guys are excited, and then a big play right off the bat, gaining more long reception.
Yep, first play, offensive play, and we've had a heavy tendency of throwing the ball out of this formation. We were able to get a screen play back to Gannon, and he does get some nice blocks there as well, and gets a stiff arm, and we get a nice 40-some-plus yard play.
To keep the drive alive, you need to pick up a 3rd down, and a big one here in 3rd and long to Brett Valentine.
This is a huge play, just being, you can see the time that Ryan got here on this play, and Ryan does a nice job finding that second window, and then Brett just, sits in there, makes the reception, keeps the chains moving.
Great blocking by the O-line, and there's a nice cutback run by Warren Matthews for a 1st down.
Yep, Warren almost takes it all the way. If we'd had a little bit better block on the outside, we'd have maybe broke it all the way, but still, regardless, a great run and put us in a position.
Nearly a touchdown reception for Shane Ledecky, right to the pylon, and I think maybe got in.
Shane had a few of these over his career, just getting down to the 1-yard line, but
at this stadium.
Right, yeah, exactly. And he's, I think his right foot maybe went out right before his left foot went in.
Right, quick snap and get in, touchdown. Ryan Radican, 1-yard run, and it's 7-0 in favor
of the Mustangs. We go on the defensive side. Mustangs trying to get a 3-and-out, and they do just that. Here's Paul Mickey with the tackle.
Again, Paul's done a nice job filling in that spot and has had a great year and makes a nice tackle there.
Good. Levi Reef, 11 tackles for the Mustangs, and gets one for loss.
You got to have these plays, especially on defense, to put the offense in a long yardage situation and get a great ankle tackle there to put them for a loss.
Continue on now. The Mustangs here on the offensive side, another third down conversion. This is where the Mustangs trying to add on to that lead. You're getting down inside, but unfortunately not able to get points as you miss a field goal. And then we go back to the defense, and Brandon Torrey and Paul Mickey here getting a couple of tackles back to back.
Right, and Mickey again getting his nose in there and making another nice play. I believe here Torrey coming off the edge. He's gotten some significant playing time now with some of those backers moving around, and it was good to see him play pretty well despite not playing as much as some of the other backers.
Correct. And then we stay on defense, and Levi Reef with another tackle for loss, or Eppingham, the running back for the Mavericks on the right side.
Yep, and Levi's one of our best tacklers. He does a nice job of getting guys wrapped up and securing those tackles.
The Mavericks go for it on 4th and short. The Mustang defense, again, this is where momentum was on your side, and Robbie Sleepin and Randy Erickson stopped the drive.
Yep, and this does just a lot, like you said, a lot for momentum, keeps us in the ball game. Getting those types of stops really gets our team going.
Well, the Mustangs going into the second quarter, and Roy Matthews again 64 yards rushing. Has looked good all year, and here's another nice run.
Very, very close to breaking it. Every time he gets the ball, it's a potential for a big play. We get a good block up front. He makes 2 guys miss, and he's able to spring a nice lead there.
And Brett Wickett finished the game with 2 catches for 29 yards, and a nice catch in traffic.
Yeah, tremendous catch and throw, and Ryan drops it in there between 2 defenders, and he's able to concentrate on it, knowing that he's going to get hit, and what a great reception.
And a couple of highlights into the second half. Radican, a design run here. You don't see this play often this year, but it worked out well for the Mustangs here for a first down.
Right, and we do a few wrinkles off of this play, and this is an adjustment that we made for this week, and paid off.
On the defense, Randy Erickson, Adam Iverson with a sack. Kept him inside, and that's exactly what you need. Your teammates fill the hole and get a sack.
Yep, they corralled him, kept him within the pocket, and let the interior guys finish off the play and get a nice sack there.
And now we move on to the fourth quarter. Mustangs, a couple of more tackles or highlights for the defense. Brandon Torrey here in the middle of your screen, number 9, just fills the hole and knocks down the Maverick runner for a short gain.
Right, and they're, big offensive line, and being able to stop the run is one thing that you have to do against these type of teams, and we just need more and more of those types of plays.
The Mustangs forced a turnover in the fourth quarter, and the fumble recovery by Alex Halls.
Yep, and it was just a little bit too little, too late, and at this point in time, the game was well within hand, and it was good to see our guys at least finish the game strong and put their best effort.
Yeah, Mustangs were able to force some turnovers, but SMSU did have some turnovers themselves, turning the ball over on interception in the second half. And one thing that was, doesn't show up on the stats so much, but is a stat that the coaches know and the players obviously, and those are some drop balls, and it really kept the drives alive. And this is again why it's a team game. You can't keep a drive alive, then your defense has to go back on the field, and maybe they're tired and whatnot. And you had some plays that were going to work, and the guys that are usually sure-handed, couldn't come up with some of the catches, and that just happens. And those are the key to keeping drives going.
Yeah, it is, and we kind of got after our guys a little bit at halftime, because there were some plays out there that we typically would make or we should make, and that we didn't. And so it's just a matter of us just focusing in and knowing that if you have that opportunity, you've got to make that play. We are Division II football. We have to be able to be accountable for everything that we do out there, and so I think that that's just an area we just got to get better at. With the game on the line, with an opportunity to keep drives alive, you just got to do that, because it compounds itself if you don't. And like you mentioned, defensively, you just put a lot more pressure on your own defense if you don't convert. Well, you guys get home, you watch film on Sunday, and now let's forget about the Minnesota State game. You have one game left of this season, and it kind of flies by here, your first season as head coach, and now here through 10 games, and the Mustangs a chance to match last season's record of 5 victories, and again, one last game, you're at home. It's senior day. You've got a great group of seniors that have gone through a lot during their 2-, 4-, and 5-year careers, and for some 6-year careers at Southwest. And should be a special day as we honor all those seniors. You have over 20 seniors, one of the biggest classes the Mustangs have had in a long, long time. So it should be a special day. And you know what? You've got 1 week left. Let's put everything on the table, and it should be fun. And we'll talk about Concordia and some of the things they're playing for, but let's talk about some of these seniors and just what they've meant to the program, and the guys like Paul Mickey, captain. He's been in the program for 6 years, and other guys like Robbie Slinkman. And then on the junior college side, Nick DeCaneva has been a great player for the defense. Then he misses half the year with an injury, and Ryan Radican on the offense has been a great addition. It's just a good group of guys. It is, and when you have this many seniors around, that's a good thing, because that means they want to be here. You see a lot of turnover within a lot of football programs, but to have this many seniors come out and graduate and finish their senior year is a big thing, and really a credit to this university and the football program, and just seeing them be successful. See their development over the course of those 4, 5, 6 years that we were talking about, having them go from old Mackey Field to where we're at now, just is something special. And there's just a lot of different types of players, different personalities, different everything, and different backgrounds, and it's just fun seeing all those guys come together, all from different regions of the country. And it'll be a fun day. It'll also be a tough day, because it will be the last college game for 25 of those guys, and it's going to be one of those bittersweet days that you'll experience. But we're looking forward to having a good day. We're not going to hold anything back. We're going to make sure that everyone is highlighted properly, and we want to make sure we go out on a great note, and that's really our goal this week. Well, it is a 1 o'clock kickoff at the Regional Event Center as the Mustangs take on Concordia University out of St. Paul, and the Golden Bears coming in a very good team this year, Coach. Maybe the surprise of the NSIC. They're 7-3 overall, and right now in 4th place in the conference standings, and an opportunity. More than likely, the top 3 teams in the conference will advance to the NCAA playoffs, which will start next week. So the top team not making the making the playoffs will go to the Mineral Water Bowl, and Concordia right now pretty much controls their fate. And if they beat the Mustangs, they go to the Mineral Water Bowl. But if they lose, it opens up a whole situation. They might not make it. So, the guys are going to play for themselves. They want to win for Southwest, but it'd be fun to, possibly end another team's season and spoil their hopes to make in a bowl game. Yeah, it always is fun kind of spoiling someone else's plans, and we mentioned that to the players already, and I think that they have a lot of other things to play for, but that's always an added bonus to be able to knock off a team. Concordia over the years has been one of kind of somewhat of a rival for us. I know our players always get excited about playing Concordia. I do remember last year talking with their head coach about, they were struggling a little bit, and their coach mentioned they had a lot of very talented young players. Well, those young players now are coming through this year for them, and having a 7-3 record, they're playing very well right now, and they've got a lot of weapons. And talking with our defensive coordinator, they've got a lot of great skilled receivers that they go to. They spread the ball around a little bit, and so it's going to be tough to stop them. It's going to be a big challenge. I know defensively they're very similar to Augustana as far as the type of play that they have, and so they're going to be a great opponent to go against here on our last game of the season, and to come out with the victory would be a very rewarding experience for everybody. Yeah,
it'd be one of the best three-year stretches for Mustang football as well. 2 years ago, 6-5. 5-6 last season, and can get a victory here again this week, and the Mustangs would finish up at 5-6 as well. And going through a lot of different things throughout the year, that would be a pretty good accomplishment. And you talk about this last week, and there's lots to play for these guys and the seniors, and obviously even the underclassmen and the juniors that. It's still important for them to play. Anytime you only get 11 of them per year, but go through the week of practice. You try to keep things just as normal as usual, or does it want to tip your hand anything on both sides, Concordia and Southwest, on what kind of plays you're going to run? But it is the last game, and it always seems like there's some kind of trick play that teams like to bring out for that type of thing. But is it more just let's try to keep things a normal week?
Well, you try to keep it as normal as possible. I mean, it's pretty much an impossible task because of the emotion that goes into that. And so we really stress to our seniors that you really got to enjoy each and every hour of each and every day of those practices and meetings, and because this will be the last time through. It'll be the last Tuesday, last Wednesday, last Thursday, and it'll start to wear on them, I think, a little bit emotionally. But there's nothing better than finishing the year off with a great win. We might include a little bit of fun in there too. We might have a kicking competition of some sort to kind of lighten things up a little bit and kind of see.
Let the seniors run practice on Thursday,
maybe there might be a few wrinkles in there for us. So.
Yeah, well, it should be a fun afternoon. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. Our only 1 o'clock kickoff at home this season. It's been a great home season to say the least. We've had some great crowds throughout the year, and really been blessed with some very good weather as well, and we hope that continues on Saturday. And it's a 1 o'clock kickoff versus Concordia St. Paul at the Regional Events Center, and we encourage fans to get to the stadium earlier, as we will honor our seniors and their parents prior to kickoff around 12:45 or so. So hoping it's a chance to recognize those kids. They've really put in a lot of time and great effort during their tenures here at Southwest Minnesota State. Well, one more show coming up next week here on the Cory Sauter Show. We'll take a look at the Concordia game and recap the 2010 season. That'll be on next week's show as well. And that's it for this week. For the head coach, Cory Sauter, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching the Cory Sauter Show here at Studio One. Go Mustangs!